Hi, I'm Skip Nipper. Welcome to Skip's Corner, the podcast where I tell you about not only Nashville's great baseball history and traditions,
shot to right, a one-hop liner,
but certainly about its past. And you will hear a little bit about its present and future, too.
Yes, he can, and makes the waist-high catch.
There are great stories about Tom Wilson Park, Herschel Greer Stadium, Sulphur Dell, and the players, coaches, and fans who love everything about baseball. And every once in a while, you will get to hear from a special guest who will share their fondness and even passion for the great game.
The high fly ball down the right field corner, going way back, hits a lead-off home run.
I enjoy baseball this time of year because of the NCAA regional tournament games going on this weekend after a full week of exciting play in the SEC tournament in Hoover, Alabama last week. I'm amazed at how fast some of the college pitchers can throw a baseball and the variety of pitches they throw. But one pitch I have not seen in college play is the knuckleball, a pitch that both fascinates fans but frustrates batters and certainly the players behind the plate who have to catch the elusive pitch. As kids, we used to try to toss a knuckleball in the backyard and sometimes in Little League practice, but never in a game as far as I can remember. Fooling around, there were some guys who could almost effortlessly position their fingers just right, sometimes with their fingernails dug in, and float a knuckler that was hard to catch if one was not expecting it. I read the scientific definition that says if you throw a baseball at the right speed with just a tiny bit of spin, the ball and its famous red seams rotates only slightly. This small rotation of the seams causes the ball to lose its stable lift. And when the lift becomes unsteady, the ball lurches wackily. In that definition, that's a knuckleball. Well, I'm not sure that stacks up exactly how I picture it. I've seen video of knuckleballs with little or even no rotation, so I'm not sure that that definition fits. And as that pitch came to mind this week, I wondered how many players actually called it their pitch. 2 years ago, a man named David Adler, writing on MLB.com, picked his top 10 knuckleball pitchers of all time, and here are his choices. Number 10 was Tim Candiotti with Cleveland and the Dodgers. Joe Niekro, famous name everyone recognizes. Much of his success was with the Astros. Dutch Leonard, an all-star with Washington back in the day. Wilbur Wood of Cubs and Chicago White Sox fame. Ed Seacott, but he was one of the Black Sox players banned from baseball after the 1919 World Series. Number 5 was R.A. Dickey, and we'll come back to him in a minute. Number 4 was Charlie Huff with the Dodgers and the Rangers, who R.A. gives much credit for helping him learn the pitch. And Tim Wakefield is number 3 of Red Sox fame, just passed away, another one who R.A. speaks about. Number 2 is Hoyt Wilhelm, who pitched for about 9 or 10 teams in his career and is a Hall of Famer like Phil Niekro. Phil Niekro was the only knuckler who is a member of the 300-win and 3,000 strikeout club, and he's number 1, according to Adler. Now, there are more by my research. I can count 32 major league pitchers who were known for calling the knuckleball their go-to pitch. But as you know, I like to tell about Nashville connections. Do any of them have a connection to Music City baseball? Well, one you probably never heard of is Johnny Niggling. He actually began the 1933 season here at Sulphur Dell with the Vols, going 2-1 in 14 innings before eventually moving up to Kansas City in the American Association. And here's a bit of trivia for you. Do you remember me saying the name Dutch Leonard? Niggling was his teammate on the Washington Senators in 1944, when the Senators' rotation remarkably featured 4 knuckleballers: Leonard, Roger Wolf, Johnny Niggling, and Mickey Hafner. Now, Niggling is the only player I can find who threw a knuckleball and played for the Nashville Vols. And if you know of another, let me know, because I love to be corrected. And yes, some of the 32 I came up with probably played in Nashville, but for other teams. And I did not count those who played for those other Southern Association teams, such as Atlanta or Mobile or Birmingham. But two of the most famous knuckleballers, two who are in Adler's article, have Nashville connections. We've already talked about one, yes, R.A. Dickey. He was born in Nashville on October the 29th, 1974. But there's more to his connection to Nashville. He went to MBA, Montgomery Bell Academy, and signed with the University of Tennessee. And after 9 seasons in pro baseball and 4 stints with the Texas Rangers, he was signed by the Milwaukee Brewers, who sent him to Nashville to play for the Sounds in 2007. And he was successful, too, ending the year with a 13-6 record. But in a surprise to all, he was declared a free agent after the season, and he began working on his knuckleball with Seattle and Minnesota before finding it worked for him. And with the New York Mets and 2 mediocre seasons in 2010 and 2011, he found his rhythm in 2012, good enough to win the National League Cy Young Award with a 20-6 record and a 2.73 ERA. Pretty good, huh? He will always be remembered as one of Nashville's favorite baseball sons. Well, the other knuckler with a Nashville connection in that top 10 is Hoyt Wilhelm. Did you know that? Once his pitching career was over, he became a coach with, you guessed it, the Nashville Sounds for 3 seasons in 1982, 1983, and 1984. And he became a Hall of Famer, yes, but his credentials are terrific. He didn't make his major league debut until he was 29, but he pitched until he was nearly 50, becoming one of baseball's first great relievers. He was the first player to pitch 1,000 games and the first to reach 200 career saves. He was the all-time leader in both categories when he retired, and he's still the all-time leader in wins by a reliever with 124. Wilhelm was an 8-time All-Star, won 2 earned run average titles, won the 1954 World Series with the Giants, and pitched a no-hitter against the Yankees in 1958. So in over 1,000 games, he won 143, had 228 saves, and a career average, now get this, 2.52 earned run average. And here's something else you probably didn't know about Wilhelm. When he first started out in the minors, his baseball career was put on hold when he entered military service with the Army at Camp Croft, South Carolina, and in November of 1942 pitched and played first base with the 393rd and later the 395th Infantry Regiment in 43 and 44 at Camp Maxey, Texas, helping the 395th clinch the 99th Infantry Division Championship in 1944. Well, the 99th Infantry Division sailed for England in September of 44 and arrived in France in November. And Staff Sergeant Wilhelm was in combat with the 395th and was awarded the Purple Heart for wounds received during the Battle of the Bulge. That's pretty impressive. Now back to the Nashville Sounds. For 3 seasons in 1982, 83, and 84, some of his star pitchers were Stefan Weaver, Clay Christensen, Tim Burke, Jamie Worley, and Bob Tewksbury, who was not a knuckleballer, but was a changeup artist. And I'll bet Wilhelm had something to do with his career, too. And what year was Wilhelm chosen for baseball's Hall of Fame? In 1985, the season after his coaching job with the Nashville Sounds ended. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of Nashville Baseball History, Knuckleballers and their connection to Nashville. If you would like to write to me, you can do so at 262downright@gmail.com. I'm always willing to listen to a subject that you'd like for me to talk about, to do some research on, and to talk about on my podcast. Or if you just want to say hello, or if you have a criticism, heck, I can take those just as good as anybody. Enjoy the ball games that you get to go to for the rest of the summer. It's a great time to be going to Sounds games and watching your favorite team play. I hope you've enjoyed my podcast. Thank you for listening.